I never thought a single weekend could change everything about me. My name's Alex, 24, living in a small but cozy apartment in the heart of the city. By day, I work in IT, fixing computers, troubleshooting networks, and answering endless emails from people who barely know how to restart their machines. It's mundane, predictable, and safe. By night, well, that's a different story. I've always been curious about crossdressing. Not for attention, not as a dare, but as a private fascination. The way certain clothes, certain colors, certain textures could transform how I felt about myself. It was intoxicating. I kept it secret, hidden in the far corners of my wardrobe and tucked away in my mind. Nobody knew. Not my coworkers, not my friends, certainly not Emma. Emma, my girlfriend of 2 years. She's brilliant, outgoing, and effortlessly stylish. Exactly the kind of person who could make me feel both inspired and inadequate at the same time. When we first met, I was immediately drawn to her confidence. The way she moved, the way she spoke, the way she carried herself, it was magnetic. We clicked instantly, and I found myself telling her things I rarely admitted to anyone. Yet some parts of me remained hidden. My secret world of skirts, dresses, and delicate makeup was mine alone. I feared judgment, rejection, losing the life I had carefully constructed. But Emma had a way of noticing the small things. A subtle look at my nails, a lingering glance at a magazine cover. She always seemed one step ahead. And I knew, somewhere deep down, that if I let her see this side of me, it could either bring us closer or shatter everything. It started on a rainy Friday evening. I had been scrolling aimlessly on social media, browsing makeup tutorials out of curiosity, when Emma leaned over my shoulder. "What are you watching?" she asked, her eyes bright. "Oh, nothing," I mumbled, quickly minimizing the video. She raised an eyebrow. "Nothing? Looks like you're learning how to contour your cheekbones like a pro." I froze. My pulse quickened. It's just research," I stammered. Emma laughed softly. "Research, huh? I didn't know IT specialists needed to know about blush techniques." Her teasing tone made my stomach flutter. I wanted to run, hide, deny it, but a small part of me wanted to show her. Instead, I shrugged. "I guess I'm curious." Her eyes softened, and she smiled. "Curious about what?" I hesitated, my mouth dry. The words hovered, trembling at the edge of confession. I wanted to tell her, to admit how I felt when I imagined myself with eyeliner and lipstick, dressed in something soft and feminine. But fear held me back. Emma leaned closer. "Hey, you can tell me anything, you know that, right?" I nodded, swallowing hard, and she left it at that. But her words lingered. "You can tell me anything." That weekend, the apartment was quiet, rain tapping against the windows. The soft hum of the heater created a cocoon-like atmosphere. I had the living room to myself while Emma ran a few errands, and the moment felt charged. I wandered over to my bedroom, drawn to the drawer where I kept my secret stash. It wasn't much, some skirts, a few blouses, and a couple of makeup kits I had purchased online in complete secrecy. But each item held weight, possibility, and fear all at once. I sat on the bed, staring at the unopened palettes of foundation, blush, and eyeshadow. I had played with makeup before, in private, late at night when the world was asleep. But never like this. Never with the thought that Emma might see. My hands hovered over the products. I wanted to dive in, to feel the brushes against my skin, to watch as the reflection in the mirror shifted into someone unfamiliar, yet undeniably me. But a knot of anxiety twisted in my stomach. Then, a voice in my head whispered, "What if she knows? What if she understands?" Emma had left me alone for the first time in weeks. The apartment felt strangely empty, and the absence of her presence made the decision both easier and more terrifying. I picked up the first brush, the bristles soft against my fingertips. My heart raced as I opened the palette, colors vibrant and inviting. I swirled the brush in the powder, inhaling the faint scent of fragrance. The moment felt intimate, secretive, and dangerous all at once. I looked in the mirror. Alex stared back, familiar and mundane. Then I touched the brush to my cheek, and the first stroke of blush transformed more than my face. It shifted something inside me. A thrill, a spark, a shiver of fear and excitement. I caught my reflection mid-blink, watching the familiar lines of my jaw soften under the stroke of makeup. I felt a strange duality rising. Alex here, Allison forming. As the blush deepened and I added a tentative layer of eyeshadow, I felt a rush of something I hadn't expected. Vulnerability. I wasn't just putting on makeup. I was exposing a part of myself I had hidden for years. The thought of Emma walking in, of someone seeing this side of me, both thrilled and terrified me. Every heartbeat echoed in my chest. I felt like a tightrope walker over a pit of fear, balancing between desire and anxiety. I paused, brushing my hand over my lips. The lipstick felt alien on my skin, yet intoxicating. It was the first time I had seen myself fully transformed, even if only in the dim light of my bedroom. The rain outside intensified, tapping against the windows like a drumbeat of suspense. I realized that this was no longer just experimentation. Something was awakening inside me, a curiosity and identity that demanded exploration. Emma's return was hours away, but I could already imagine the look on her face. Would she be shocked? Curious? Supportive? Or would she see me differently forever? I stared at the reflection one last time before placing the brush down. Alex was still there, but Allison, the side I had hidden, was emerging. And I knew, deep down, that once Emma saw this, nothing would ever be the same. The moment Emma stepped out, I felt a mixture of liberation and terror. Alone in the apartment, I could explore this hidden side of me without judgment, or so I told myself. I returned to the mirror, a small blush brush in hand. The powder felt soft, almost foreign, but the second it touched my cheek, a spark of exhilaration shot through me. Each stroke seemed to melt the line between Alex and Allison. I experimented carefully at first, light blush on the apples of my cheeks, a subtle sweep of eyeshadow. The transformation was gradual but undeniable. My face softened, my features appeared delicate, and even in the dim light of the bedroom, I felt an unfamiliar thrill. It was liberating and terrifying. A part of me screamed to stop, to retreat into the safety of Alex, but another part urged me forward. With every layer of makeup, I felt more exposed, and yet more alive. The mascara I applied to my lashes made my eyes appear larger, more expressive, and I found myself staring at the reflection with fascination. "What am I doing?" I whispered, voice trembling. The answer was clear, discovering a part of myself I had suppressed for years. Alex was safe, mundane, predictable. Allison, my feminine persona, was thrilling, alive, and dangerously irresistible. A shiver ran down my spine as I traced the contours of my lips with a lipstick I had never dared wear in public. The color was bold, unapologetic. I almost gasped at the reflection. Next came the clothes. I opened my wardrobe, carefully selecting a soft blouse and a flowing skirt I had bought in secret months ago. Each piece felt heavy, with possibility. I slipped into them, the fabric brushing against my skin like a whisper. The skirt swayed as I walked across the room, and I caught myself in the mirror, adjusting my posture instinctively. My shoulders straightened, my head lifted, and suddenly, I was more than Alex. I was Allison, stepping fully into a world I had only imagined. Sitting on the edge of the bed, I felt my heart pound. Excitement warred with fear. Every moment I spent as Allison felt intoxicating, yet every shadow outside the window reminded me that this could all be seen, discovered, judged. I imagined Emma walking in, her expression unreadable. Would she smile? Laugh? Or would she recoil? The thought tightened my chest. I loved Emma, but revealing this side of myself felt like stepping off a cliff. I wasn't sure if I was ready to land safely. Standing in front of the full-length mirror, I studied Allison's reflection. My features softened, my hair framed my face perfectly, the makeup accentuating my eyes and lips. It was intoxicating. I touched my cheeks, feeling the blush beneath my fingertips, and ran my hands over my skirt. For the first time, I felt beautiful. Not Alex, Not the man everyone expected me to be, but me, wholly unapologetically Allison. And yet fear lingered. Who would I be when Emma returned? Who would I be when the makeup came off? Emma's texts pinged, letting me know she'd be home in an hour. My pulse quickened. Part of me wanted to stay hidden, safe in my bedroom cocoon. But another part whispered, why not take this further? Why not experience this fully? Even if it's just for a little while. I grabbed a pair of heels, my legs trembling as I stepped into them. Each click across the floor echoed like a heartbeat in my ears. I felt more exposed than ever. The mirror reflected a confident, alluring Allison, but my hands shook. Every second felt like a test. Could I maintain this persona? Could I embrace it without shame? Suddenly, a knock at the door startled me. My heart leapt into my throat. Emma? Or someone else? I froze, heels digging into the carpet. Emma's voice followed. Alex? You okay? I swallowed, forcing a calm I didn't feel, yet just lost track of time. Relief washed over me as I realized it was Emma. But the incident amplified my anxiety. I was no longer just experimenting in private. Each sound, each moment of exposure could unravel everything. Once Emma settled in the living room, I crept back to the mirror. Each stroke of eyeliner, each brush of powder, became more daring. I wasn't just applying makeup. I was sculpting an identity. The reflection stared back at me, eyes wide and daring. I practiced expressions, tilting my head, smiling, trying on voices in my mind. I realized that Allison was becoming real, not just a persona, but a presence that demanded acknowledgement. Emma eventually noticed. She walked over, her eyes scanning me carefully. You're stunning, she whispered. Really, I didn't know you could pull this off so effortlessly. Her words ignited a mixture of pride and fear. Could she see the real me behind Allison? Could she understand what this meant? I laughed nervously, adjusting my skirt. Thanks, I think I'm still figuring it out. Her hand brushed mine, gentle, grounding. I like what I see, she said softly. The thrill of being seen, acknowledged, yet still secret, sent shivers down my spine. Every nerve in my body was alert, alive, trembling between desire and terror. Finally, Emma suggested we step outside. Just a walk, she said. Nothing crazy. But I want you to feel confident. I hesitated, heart hammering, but nodded. The city outside was alive with lights and shadows. People walked past, oblivious. Each glance at Allison's reflection in shop windows made me gasp. This was no longer private. This was a test of courage, of identity, of control. Each step was thrilling. Each click of my heels against the pavement reminded me that I had crossed a line. There was no going back. By the time we returned, my confidence had grown, but so had my anxiety. What if someone recognized me? What if Emma's patience ran out? I glanced at the mirror, studying Allison's reflection. She was bold, beautiful, but fragile. And I realized that by embracing this side of myself, I was opening doors that might never close. That night, as I lay in bed with Allison's persona still vivid in my mind, I knew the weekend had only begun. The makeup, the clothes, the persona, it was addictive. But with each passing hour, the thrill mingled with fear. The next day promised exposure, challenges, and the potential for discovery. I had crossed the line from private experimentation to living, even temporarily, as someone entirely new. And I couldn't turn back. The morning sunlight filtered through the apartment blinds, cutting across the floor in golden streaks. I hadn't slept much. My mind was still tangled in the thrill and terror of the previous night. Allison lingered in my reflection, bold and confident, daring me to take her out into the real world. Emma noticed my hesitation over breakfast. You okay? She asked, concern laced with curiosity. I think so, I replied, voice shaking slightly. It's just it feels different, stepping outside like this. Emma smiled. Then let's make it worth it. She handed me a new blouse, silky and flowing, and a skirt with a subtle flare. Wear this. I want to see you shine. I felt my stomach twist with both excitement and dread. Every fiber of me wanted to run back to safety, but I also wanted to experience Allison fully. We stepped into the busy streets. The city thrummed with life. Cars honking, people chattering, footsteps echoing against the concrete. Every glance felt like a spotlight on me. Every passerby a potential threat. I kept my eyes forward, hands slightly trembling, but Emma's presence anchored me. "You're gorgeous," she whispered. "Own it." But owning it was harder than I imagined. Every time someone passed, I caught them staring. A flash of curiosity, amusement, or even judgment flickered in their eyes. My heart raced, adrenaline flooding my veins. For the first time, I realized the true weight of public exposure. Allison was no longer safe, hidden in the privacy of my apartment. She was real, visible, and fragile. As we walked past a small cafe, a familiar voice called out, "Alex." My heart froze. I spun slightly, hoping the speaker hadn't noticed. It was Jake, my best friend from college. He squinted, brows furrowed. "Wait, is that you?" Emma tightened her grip on my hand. "Quick, keep moving," she murmured. I stumbled slightly in my heels, panic threatening to consume me. I felt exposed, caught in a lie I wasn't sure I could protect. Hey, Jake," I stammered, voice higher than usual. "Yeah, just trying something new." Jake tilted his head, curiosity evident. Okay," he lingered, but didn't press further. Relief flooded me, mixed with the rush of danger. Every step from that point on heightened my anxiety. I was being seen, judged, and yet, somehow, admired. We arrived at a boutique Emma had promised would be fun. Inside, the mirrors reflected Allison in ways I had never imagined. The soft lighting, the pastel tones, the elegant racks of clothes. It was a playground for transformation. Emma encouraged me to try new outfits, experimenting with silhouettes and textures. Each layer of clothing, each swipe of makeup adjustments made Allison feel more real, more alive. I twirled in front of the mirrors, hearing Emma's delighted laughter. "You're amazing," she said, eyes sparkling. But behind that thrill lurked a gnawing tension. Every glance from other shoppers, every reflection I caught, reminded me that Allison was a fragile facade. Alex could return at any moment, and with him, shame, fear, and regret. Suddenly, the bell above the boutique door jingled. My heart skipped a beat. A tall man entered, scanning the racks, then froze. "Alex." Panic surged through me. It was Mark, my coworker, someone who had no reason to know about my secret. Emma stepped closer, whispering, "Stay calm. I've got you." Mark's gaze shifted, a flicker of confusion crossing his face. He didn't immediately recognize Allison. He tilted his head, squinting, and then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then back at me. Time seemed to slow. My hands shook, my heels threatening to betray me. Could he connect the dots? Could he expose me in this moment of vulnerability? Emma squeezed my hand. "Trust me," she whispered. I nodded, forcing a calm I didn't feel. Each heartbeat echoed in my ears as I rehearsed explanations, deflections, and stories in my mind. Mark's eyes narrowed slightly, scanning Allison from head to toe. I could feel the sweat prickling on my skin. My reflection in the boutique mirror stared back, and I barely recognized myself. The mascara smudged slightly as I blinked too quickly. I felt exposed, vulnerable, a fraud waiting to be discovered. Emma leaned close, whispering encouragement, but the world outside felt like a storm ready to break. Every tick of the clock, every shuffle of shoppers' feet heightened the suspense. I realized then that Allison wasn't just a persona, she was a risk. Every step outside, every interaction, could unravel everything I had kept hidden. As I reached for a dress on a high rack, my wig shifted slightly. Panic surged. One wrong move and Allison's illusion would shatter. Emma noticed instantly. "Careful," she murmured, steadying the wig with her hand. The incident, though minor, symbolized the fragility of my dual existence. Allison could be admired, celebrated, and yet, with one slip, exposed and rejected. The tension made my pulse race. Every brushstroke of makeup, Every adjustment of clothing became a delicate act of balancing between desire and fear. Just as I began to regain confidence, my phone buzzed violently. A text from Jake. "Dude, I think I just saw you downtown as her." "Are you serious?" I froze. My hands trembled, my lips parting in shock. Emma's eyes widened. "They saw you." I shook my head, words failing me. The weekend, once a private experiment, was now teetering on the edge of exposure. The thrill and danger collided, making my head spin. I had wanted to embrace Allison fully, but reality had caught up. Back in the safety of a nearby cafe, I tried to calm myself. The reflection in the cafe window revealed Allison fully. Bold, radiant, confident, but my heart was pounding. Emma held my hand, her eyes searching mine. "You okay?" I swallowed hard. I don't know if I am. It's too much, but I don't want it to stop." She smiled softly. "Then don't stop. We'll face it together." But inside, I felt the precarious balance. Every compliment, every glance, every recognition from someone I knew could unravel Allison completely. As we returned to the apartment, the city lights blurred through my teary eyes. The weekend had been a roller coaster of thrill and terror, confidence and fear. Allison was alive, vibrant, real, but fragile. One misstep, one recognition, one revelation could shatter everything I had created. And deep down, I knew the final challenge had yet to come, the moment when Alex and Allison would collide fully, and the weekend's experiments would reach a tipping point I couldn't predict. The city lights blurred past the taxi window, reflecting like streaks of gold across my eyes. Allison sat upright in the seat beside Emma, every movement careful, deliberate. I could feel the residual adrenaline from the day's events pulsing in my veins, my hands slightly trembling, my heels clicking against the floor as we walked from the car to our apartment building. Inside, the hallway felt impossibly quiet, the faint hum of the elevator filling the silence. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, but the reflection in the small hallway mirror caught me off guard. Allison looked back at me, eyes wide, flawless, yet somehow vulnerable, as if aware that her time in the spotlight had exposed more than just a hidden passion. Emma reached for my hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. "You were incredible today," she whispered. "You're amazing." I smiled, though it felt hollow. The thrill of the weekend had been intoxicating, but I knew the danger wasn't over. As I hung my coat, a sharp sound echoed from the door. My heart skipped a beat. Was someone outside? Had someone followed us home? The peephole showed nothing, just the darkened hallway. Yet my pulse pounded in my ears. Each step felt heavier, each breath tighter. I could feel Allison shrinking under the weight of potential exposure, while Alex's caution fought to reassert control. Emma noticed my tension. "What is it?" she asked, her voice steady but concerned. I shook my head, forcing a laugh. "Nothing, probably just my imagination." But deep down I knew better. Danger had a way of creeping up when I least expected it, and Allison, no matter how confident, was vulnerable. Then my phone vibrated on the counter. I picked it up, and my stomach twisted at the message displayed on the screen. "I saw you downtown today. Who is she?" The sender was unknown, the tone accusatory. My heart raced, my fingers trembling over the keypad. Who could this be? A stranger? Someone from work? Jake? Emma leaned over, glancing at the screen. Her expression shifted subtly. Curiosity, concern, and perhaps a hint of fear. I swallowed hard. "It's complicated," I said, words faltering. Emma's grip tightened. "Do you want me to handle it?" I shook my head. "No, I need to." The message lingered in my mind like a shadow, a reminder that Allison's world, once private and contained, was now dangerously exposed. I stepped into the bedroom, needing to confront myself. Allison reflected back in the mirror. Her eyes were wide, lips slightly parted, cheeks still flushed from makeup. The reflection was mesmerizing and terrifying. I touched my cheek gently, feeling the warmth of blush beneath my fingertips. Allison's presence was real, alive, undeniable, but so fragile. One wrong move, one slip, and the persona could crumble. I looked deeper, searching for Alex, for the man behind the makeup, the persona. But the lines were blurred. The more I embraced Allison, the less I recognized myself. Emma's voice floated from the living room. Alex or Allison, whoever you are, I'm here. But you need to tell me what's happening. I swallowed, the weight of confession pressing down on me. Part of me wanted to run, to strip the makeup, hide Allison forever. Another part wanted to step fully into her, risk exposure, embrace this identity completely. I realized that the weekend had changed everything. This wasn't just a temporary experiment. Allison had taken root inside me. But at what cost? Just as I contemplated my next move, another knock sounded at the door, sharp, insistent. My blood ran cold. Emma glanced at me, alarmed. Who? I froze. The door handle rattled. Someone was outside, waiting, perhaps aware of Allison. Perhaps not. Perhaps here to unravel the fragile illusion I had worked so hard to create. My heart raced. Every instinct screamed to hide, to retreat, to return to Alex. Yet Allison, bold, radiant, alive, urged me to face it. The knock came again, louder this time, echoing in the small apartment. I backed away slowly, my reflection in the mirror watching, waiting, knowing. The tension was unbearable. I glanced at Emma, whose eyes were wide, unreadable. The phone message, the knocks, the reflections, they converged in one terrifying, intoxicating moment. I took a shaky breath, standing tall in heels, blouse flowing, lips colored and bold. Allison was ready. Alex was silent. The door handle jiggled once more. Whoever was out there would see me in this form. Whoever would judge, expose, or reject me was one twist away from discovering everything. And in that instant, I realized that this weekend, this experiment, had irrevocably changed me. I wasn't just playing a role. I was living it, and the consequences were about to arrive. The knock came again, insistent, and I froze, caught between fear and exhilaration. The camera would cut to the door, the viewer left in suspense. Who is knocking? Will Alex be exposed? Will Allison survive judgment? The room was silent except for the faint hum of the city outside. Emma's hand found mine, squeezing gently. I met her gaze, wide-eyed, uncertain. And then the screen fades to black.